Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my garage. Today I thought I would do a video on PPF or protective paint film, and it's not the video that you think it's going to be about. I don't want to talk about PPFing the whole car, etc. What I want to talk about is you get home, you've purchased a vehicle, you've had the hood PPF, and you decide after a couple of days of driving, ooh, maybe I should have covered an extra area. And there's a lot of debate over PPF. So I thought I would use this as one of those perfect scenarios. So right behind me, I have my BMW Z4 M40i, which is only a week old. I just purchased it. Now, I did have the whole hood PPF because it's a very large hood and it swoops down, plus it swoops over the arches because the hood comes down to here when it opens. So I've had that PPF just to protect it from a bit of rock chips. The rest of the car has actually been ceramic coated, so it has a nice layer of protection. But in the first week of ownership, I've learned something that even the detail guys really didn't think about, because they're very much into PPF the hood and the bumpers. What I realized is this car has very sticky performance tires. And I can hear, and I started hearing this when I was backing into this garage space, I could hear little bits of sand and really small pieces of gravel falling off the tires when I'm backing into the garage. Now my driveway is fully paved, and I drive down a paved road, which you wouldn't expect to hear that. And then it clued in. That's the level of the stickiness of these tires, that even at a slow speed, because you've been out for a drive, they've warmed up, that rubber is hot, it's picking up little tiny microscopic pieces. And the first thing that ran through my mind was, great, I've got ceramic coat, but I either need to get mud guards, which BMW does not make, and universal ones always look horrible, or I've got to do something to protect right behind the wheel wells of the front and rear tires to keep those little bits, the little grains of sand, essentially, that are going to get thrown up by this tire, especially at speed, and act as an abrasive against the ceramic coat and the paint. Now, yes, the ceramic coat is there to protect it, but it's only going to give a certain level of protection. Eventually it's going to wear, and then you're going to have to do a paint correction to remove the ceramic coat, and then have to recoat it to simply start the whole process. So I thought, how do we get around this? Well, PPF works great in the front. BMW places a small triangular piece right back here from the factory. So why not use PPF? I'm not going to show you how to apply the PPF. I am not a professional in that. I've watched several YouTube videos on professional detailers that do this as a living to learn some of their tips and tricks. So I recommend that you do that based on your vehicle that you drive. Based on this being a very low number production vehicle, so the M40Is, they've built since 2019 to 2025, ballpark about 5,000 of these cars for the North American market. They've built about 15-ish, 18,000 in total, including the 4 cylinders. And I'm going to bet most of the cars that get PPF'd are going to be these M40Is, and the detail guys don't see enough of them to think about it. So I thought rather than running back to the detail shop, asking them to clean the entire car, prep it all to do 4 spots, what do? Well, you can buy 3M, Expel, good quality PPF right on Amazon. I'll post a link below, and that way you can see it's very inexpensive. You buy it in a roll like this. Now this is all that's left. This was a 12-inch by 72-inch roll, and that's all that I have left after using 5 pieces. The 5th is actually for a special, to put some protection for a special mount for the license plate, because in Ontario we require a front plate, and there was no way I was letting them drill into the front bumper. So we're gonna go with a stow and show, which I'll do a different video on another day. Now this roll, 12-inch by 72 inches, I purchased for $42 Canadian. Sorry for our US friends, I'll post a little price here in the video, you know, maybe like right about here, so you can see the American price. It'll be significantly cheaper in the US. And you can purchase this. I purchased it from Vivid Canada. They do a lot of their own PPF as well as vinyl wraps, and they're also in the US. And you can just order it from them. It's a true 3M product. This is the Scotchgard series, not the Pro. From what I can tell, this is a 1 or 200 series 3M, which is really all I needed. 8 mils thick, and it has the self-healing properties, which is the big thing, because if we do throw some stones up, we want it in the heat to self-heal itself. I wanted to bring you this video so that you'd think about if you wanted to do this to your own car, and really give you some tips and tricks on how to deal with the PPF. Never mind the install. That would have bored the heck out of you. And if you can think about this before you buy the car, have the professionals do it. Trust me, it just took me like 2 hours to do those 4 spots, because you need time, you need to take out your slick solution, and I just figured you don't need to see that. You don't want to be bored. So let me show you a few. I'll grab the camera, show you a few things that you'll need, give you some tips based on it. So first of all, you're going to need a good chamois cloth, because you'll need that for several times to wipe your slick solution off to clean the panel. Then you'll need it at times to wipe some of the fluid around the 3M. You'll need a really good X-Acto knife. You can go out and buy, you know, a kit. I happen to have a few pieces here from some window tint I've done in a commercial office and in my home. So I didn't need these pieces, the little squeegees, and all I did was make sure I put in a brand new blade for cutting the 3M. A pair of scissors comes in real handy, and I'll explain in a second. And then you're going to need, I'm going to turn this around because the label is not what's in there. You're going to need a bottle for your slick solution and a bottle for your tack solution. You could probably mix a lot less tack. This is a half-liter bottle. Forgive me, I don't know how, half-liter or 16 fluid ounces for our American friends, where this is a 1-liter bottle, or basically a pint. And you don't have to mix as much. I did it because it's just so much easier to mix the whole bottle for the solutions I need, and for what the alcohol cost that you're using in there and the dish soap, it's pennies. Anyways, some tips. What did I do to help cut the areas? Now I'll show you here on the car, and I'm hoping you can't actually tell that 3M. Now I literally just finished the job a few minutes ago, but I've 3M'd this area in here and goes right under the car. I've also 3M'd this area because I did see a used car that had some rash back here as well as in the front. So if you look really closely, because it's not fully dry, you can see right there the line of the 3M. And that's just because of the reflection and the way the camera's held. If you actually stand just a smidgen further back from where I am at this level, it's really kind of hard to tell it. And then of course, that has been done on both sides. So we have at the back and also at the front there. Now, professionals are going to lay out a piece and trim it right on the car. And I'm going to tell you, don't do it. I thought, no way am I doing it. My luck, I am going to slip, cut the paint, and 1 week old car, and I've already damaged the paint. So what I've actually done is I took some paper. You can be inventive. This is just 8.5 by 11. I taped 3 pieces together. And then what I essentially did is I just took it over the car, placed it where I wanted, and with a pencil, I just drew lightly. Now, I only drew a little bit with the pencil because when it was here, I could fold the edges over, crease them, and mark it. Then I came back to the table, laid out the 3M, and that's what you're going to see here is the backing paper of all the pieces that I cut. Laid it out, cut it with the X-Acto knife for each side. Now just be careful. Remember, you know, when you're cutting one way versus another, it may not work on the side. You want to make sure you're cutting with your 3M glossy side. So let's pull this out. Glossy side. You know, if you put the template down here and this is the top of the template, you want to remember that's for this side of the car. Because if you put the other side that way and you go over, it won't actually fit. So just pay very close attention to what you're doing, or if you want to really be safe, don't buy 72 inches, buy 96 or 120 inch roll. Buy extra. Cost you an extra $10, $20, and you've got extra just in case you make a mistake. So I made that template, and then for the back wheel wells, I made this template. After I did the driver's side, I simply took the templates. So for example, this template was sitting this way. I took it around to the other side of the car, rotated the template. So on this side it sat this way, and then on the other side you rotate it around. Once I cut that template, I sized it on both sides, make sure they're identical in the way they're going to fit, if I needed to make any small adjustments, and then that way I could use one template. If your car is not exactly the same, it's got some decoration or something, it's been modified, you'll need to do templates for each area. But then it was very simple. Lay out your 3M. I cut each piece. Now you see all the pieces here. Don't cut them all at once. Go one at a time. Cut it, place it on the car, then move to the back, cut the template, place it on the car, and then go around. Personally, that is the way I think is the better way to do it. And what I actually did was front driver's side. Once that was placed and adhered in place, I went over to the passenger side, since any little tips I learned on this side that I wasn't expecting, which really aren't any, is just, you know, do you need to trim it a little bit more? Do I let the adhesive sit to dry a little bit longer before I fold it? Those type of things you can now directly apply on the other side of the car because it's fresh in your mind. And then I did the same when I jumped to the back. Anything I needed to just modify on this side with the template, I did that. And in actual fact, the template was just a smidgen big in the way I cut it. So when I cut the passenger side of the back, I actually cut the template a little bit smaller, knowing I was a few millimeters or like an 1/8 of an inch or a 1/16 of an inch off. I'm really bad with the 16ths, but I think I was about a 1/16 off. So I just trimmed it before I even got to the car to save me a step of, okay, it's applied, I'm looking at the bend and it's a smidgen long. Now I'm having to cut it on the car. Well, not cut it on the car, but cut it while part of it is adhered to the car. So I did that on the table and it just saved me a bunch of time. Those are kind of the biggest tips. Maybe what I'll do down the road when I've had a full summer of driving or a few months, I'll do an update video to let you know how the 3M held up. As I mentioned, this is a true 3M product, and you'll see genuine materials, and it does say, you know, converted and distributed by Vivid. But it is a genuine 3M. Be cautious, because there's a number of products out there that they claim to be 3M, but I've heard there's a lot of forgeries. This is really quality stuff. You can see it when you touch it, the way it's done. Vivid is grown to be a large company. They also have some great products of their own. For the first time, I wanted the slightly thicker one. I wanted at least an 8 mil or a 10 mil, and I found 10 mil was a little pricey for the size you were getting. A lot of it I could only get 6 inches tall, and I wanted 12. And then a few people reported it was really hard to work with, especially if you had to bend it around a corner. So I decided the 8 mil would be the great trial run. Now, the advantage of this is I've done it myself, low cost, afterthought. If I had thought about it ahead of time, or the detail guys had said, hey, we should maybe put some in this area, I would have let them do it. I just don't think they're used to seeing this car because of the low production numbers, and they don't think about doing that in that area. So the nice advantage, it's done now. The beauty is if there's that much light debris coming up and it really impacts the 3M, by doing this process yourself, you could technically next spring or the fall pull off the 3M, and then in the spring put on a new one if it was really taking a lot of abuse. Or in a few years, if it takes that long, same thing. Pull it off, put it back on at an odd $40. It works really well. Anyways, I hope that this has provided some information and encouraged you to go out and do some of these customizations yourself. I've never worked PPF. This is the first job I've done, and you know, I'm less than 3 feet, 2.5 feet from the car, and it's really tough to tell where it is. And it's actually easier when I look at the camera than it is when I look directly at the car, because in the camera you can just barely see the line right there, but in person at 2.5 feet away, can't even see it. So just like the hood, you can't tell there's PPF on it, but you got that protection. Anyway, Bruno here. Hope it has helped you. Please like and subscribe. Give me any feedback if you have some questions. Love to help out. And, you know, I'll try to do some of these little projects to help give some experience if you're new to this, and help encourage you that you can do it. Just be patient and don't worry. If you mess up one of the templates, start over again. You know, $40, $60 worth of 3M film, pretty damn cheap. Anyways, you guys take care. Let me know if you have any other suggestions on some DIY videos. But I'm now going to have to sit and watch the car because she's got to sit for 48 hours now while that 3M dries. So I guess we're going to take one of the other ones out for the next 2 days and do some driving. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching.